Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to the Power Hour Show. Cadets of Perfect Balance Clinic. And this is the place where we are talking all matters running and all matters for runners. We bring you insights, stories, information, and hopefully inspiration, and hopefully entertain you in the process around the subject matter of athletics, running, whether this is for recreation or it is for performance, whether this is at entry level or this is right at the end level, whether this is on track or on the roads. It is all about running. Under the situation that we find ourselves of lockdown and what the pandemic has brought about, where there's restricted opportunities for people to go training, to go running, maybe it's the best time to do and talk athletics, and that's what we are doing. Now, within that, things that would happen usually within track and field is one of the contentious topics, or a common one really, is entry into coaching. There are various routes that people enter into coaching. And the common one that I'm always asked is, were you a runner that now you are coaching? And my answer is yes and no. There are many professions that you become a professional without having been on the receiving end of that profession. You get my point. But tonight, a guest joins me to talk about transitioning from an international athlete to become an international coach. I am happy to welcome Christine. Christine, welcome to the show.
Hi. Hello. Hello. Nice to see you.
Tell us, Christine, who is Christine? And, you and athletics. You've come a long way.
Yes. I started athletics when I was at secondary school. I used to run at primary school, but I started at secondary school. And I was in a children's home, and then went to a few foster families, and they carried on that love of running. And they encouraged me to do running. I enjoyed running as well. It was something that I thought I was good at. Maybe not great, but good to run.
Yeah. Okay. So, how did you get into formal athletics then? How did that start?
Well, I attended English school, so I did about 3 years of English school, got to the final, just missed out the middle. And then I decided that I wanted to do Great Britain. Now, really, it was unrealistic at the time. But I'm a determined person, and I'm very driven. And if I set my mind a goal, I'm going to achieve it. So at 11, I decided I wanted to run for Great Britain. So I started with a coach, Clarence Callender, and going back, I was with a triple jump coach originally, and he just liked coaching Dave Johnson, and I stayed with him for 2 years, and then I transferred to Clarence. When I started taking it a bit more seriously, I wanted the focus to be more on sprinting than on jumping. So I did 9 years of Clarence.
Yeah. Okay. With that, when you started, and I know Clarence, and a terrific coach he is. Did you already have an idea in your mind what event that you wanted to do? Did you have a specialism in mind already?
Well, I like sprints. I just wanted to be fast. I just like running. I could run around school, playground. I competed against boys at primary school. I knew I could walk. So I had an idea that I wanted to do sprints. I like to jump. And I tried my hand at different things. When I was put into care, my sisters and I were separated. My sister did javelin and discus. So really, nothing like what I wanted to do. And I was inspired by them, motivated by them, and that's why I took up my birth sisters. So I wasn't really sure initially, and I just did. I think it's very important for you to do everything. I think it's very important as a young person, even if your vision is sprinting, or your vision is throwing, or your vision is jumping. I think you should have a broad experience of athletics, because then you can make a more informed judgment. Because you can't, I believe, if you just go down one route, you never know what you could have done in another event or activity. Somebody spoke to me recently, said to me, Christine, I don't understand why sprinters who can run 10.5 don't go into jumping. It's an easy conversion. You need speed in long jump. And if you're a 10.5 runner, you're not going to make it as a Great Britain sprinter. So why not transfer it into jumping? So if you've had that experience and that exposure when you were younger, I think it will be easier for you to make that decision and make that step. But I'm going to go to that. I think I could do well at jumping, because I think we pigeonhole people, and I don't think we should do that. I think we should allow them to explore track.
No, completely agree with you with that school of thought. I think the debate is over. There used to be a huge debate, many years that have gone past, but I think that debate is over. Now people have taken on board the fact that whether they are educationists or they are coaches, that it's important to have a very broad base. Young athletes need to have a very broad base of involvement, because the development, the biomotor abilities that they're developing are the same anyway.
Yeah.
And those they are the same anyway, and they'll be able to call on them as a resource when they start specializing later on in their late teens and early 20s, because there's plenty of time to do that. And it curtails the temptation to try and start specializing early. I have problems with athletes that come to the track and say, what did you want to do? They say, I am a 100-meter sprinter, and they're only 14. Or, I'm a hurdler, and they're only 17. I have huge problems with that, because that's the level of education that they've been exposed to. And so you then start breaking that down to say, look, there are other huge fundamentals that you need to develop before you start defining yourself, on the basis of an event. So completely agree with you, and I'm glad you do that. So tell me about the club involvement there. When did you get involved into a club situation? What was club environment like, and what was the structure? How long were you training, within those early years? How many times a week were you doing that?
I did about 2 to 3 times. It depended on what coach I was with, and it depended on where I was academically as well. Because I joined Hernal Harriers, and I was coached by a coach from Hernal Harriers, Bert Smythe. So he was my first original coach when I was young, and he allowed me to do everything. So I even did long distance running, which people wouldn't really believe that Christine could run in long distance. I wasn't very fit. I did cross country. I think it was important, and my coach said, just do it, Chris, do it. You might enjoy it. So I joined Hernal Harriers. It was very important for me, because obviously when you're brought up in children's homes and foster families, your identity is shaken, and you don't really know who you are. It was a form of stability in my life, and it was like my family. It became my family. It was my second and athletics became quite important. It's quite a stabilizing factor in my life. So I didn't really see my birth mum and dad much. I didn't have my sisters. So it was track and field was one of the most consistent things in my life, and so was church. I had church and track and field, and from the time 6.5 when I was made a the government are now in charge of you. I had 2 things that were important in my life: church and athletics, and they've always been in my life. From now, I'm 52 now, and it's still important in my life. And I think what track and field does is it broadens your horizons and it enables you to see different parts of the country, meet and mingle with different kinds of people from different social classes. It teaches you how to interact and engage in a more in a way that society will accept, and it teaches you how to behave, not just it teaches you discipline.
Yeah.
It teaches you camaraderie and teamwork. And because I think sometimes as young people we lose it, and we lose that kind of ability to work with people and be understanding of their flaws and their weaknesses. We're in a relay team. We all got our flaws and weaknesses, and in Home Harriers, there was some that was good at bends, there was some that was good at starts, and there was something. But everybody has a role to play. Like in our lives, we all have a role to play. And once you know that role, you can empathise with somebody else. So if somebody else is struggling with something, what training I think taught me is how to empathise and be considerate and understanding of people's weaknesses, whether that's emotional, whether that's physical. I think it's important that's what Colonel Harold taught me. And it taught me to love and embrace everybody. So even if I was a sprinter, but women sprinters don't really like other events. They didn't used to look at it and watch other events. I love middle distance, I love long distance, I love jumping, I love high jump, I love all athletics. So I have a passion for every aspect of athletics, and I think that's what it did for me. I know it's not that way everybody. I'm just like every time I go to a new place, I'm like, oh gosh, it's a new place. I've been somewhere new. It's been great. People are nice. They're speaking a different accent, different values, and and it's been really good because I have travelled around the whole of the United, like the whole, so Scotland, North Ireland, everywhere. And that's because of athletics. I would never have done that had I not been a part of athletics. And what I say to some of my kids is, join a club, and you can travel the country. And some of you may even travel the world. But it depends where you go and where you want to take your career. But I really think it's a good way of traveling and seeing different places. I think it's very, very important.
Yeah, very very kind words there, and very wise words as well. Really, that you bring out there, Christine, relative to what track and fields does to a person's own personal development, not just as an athlete, but because it brings them in contact with other people of different cultures. Athletes are able to develop, far beyond what they would if they did not have that opportunity to interact with other people of different ages, different events, as well as coming from different cities and different parts of the world. So yes, the social side, the social capital of track and field is huge. It can never be underestimated.
Yeah.
Completely so. Now, tell me about your senior career. There you are, you've joined this club, you have all these wonderful coaches, they're developing you, you are beginning. At what point did you start deciding, well, I love speed, but I think this is the event I want to express my passion for speed for? At what age was that, and how did it happen?
It was probably when I was 16, 17, when I realised that my PT told me that I could be really good at sprinting. But there was a girl called Fadela, she was my best friend. She was a bit faster than me. She slightly picked me. And then one year I picked her, and I thought, that's it. I'll make it to Great Britain. And from then on, I didn't look back, and I just made a decision to travel. Yeah. I just traveled 2 hours training on a bus, on buses.
2 hours to go training.
2 hours to go to training. It was on bus, and I had to take myself there and bring myself back on the bus. Sometimes my coach would give me a lift, but most of the time I had to travel by myself. I had a vision, and I decided at 11 that I was going to. So it wasn't a sacrifice, and what I did as I got older, I went to university. I time managed very well. I was very good at managing my time. On the tube, I would read books. I would do my dissertation. I would do notes. I would do all the sort of things that I would be doing at home if I was at home, not at home or watching television. So I decided this is how I was going to utilize my 2 hours. And so it was then that I decided. So once I decided, everything was geared towards becoming an international elite. Everything. Even though I had 5 years of elite cultures, I did under 20, and then I had 5 years where I didn't really do anything much. I kept getting injured, and then when they didn't take me to the Commonwealth Games, it was when they didn't take me to the Commonwealth Games, and I just said to my coach, this is the last year I watch British athletics on television. This is the last year. I said, I will never do it again. And so that year, don't ask me, I don't even know. I trained hard. I was dedicated. But something in my psyche changed. And I just said to myself, no, how dare they not take me to the Commonwealth Games? How dare they not do that? And I was like, no. I said to my coach, no, this I have to be meticulous. Right, and I have to be proactive in what I wanted to do. So rather than leaving it to my coach, I was doing a degree in sports and movement. So I said, well, I know what I need to do. I need to get up. I need to do my steps. I need to do my arms because my arms are appalling. I need to get stronger. So there were certain things that I took responsibility for and ownership. I didn't rely completely on my coach. Because, to be honest with you, coaches are there to do everything. But however, if you really want to achieve something, if you really want to do it, you have to apply yourself. Apply yourself to the task at hand. Know what you need to do and know how you're going to get there. And once you know what you want to do and how you're going to get there, then it's incremental steps. So I say to my athletes, it's where do you want to be in a year's time? Where do you want to be in 5 years' time? Where do you want to be in 10 years' time? Okay, so you know where you want to be. So once you know where you want to be, you can set yourself targets. And I said to my coach, I refused to watch any athletics on television, and I refused to be left at home. So I don't know how I was going to get there because it was really, at that time, not really realistic. But I just said, you know what, I am determined. I said, this is the last time. My 300s, my 9 300s that I did with it. It's the first year I managed to run 9 300s without collapsing. The first year that I learned how to, distribute my energy. You know the energy system that you have in athletics. The first year I learned, I really understood the energy system. Hit it hard. You've got 6 to 7 seconds of free energy. Use it. Why are you just trotting out of your runs? Why don't you accelerate hard so you get further down the track so you use less energy? Why are you just, no, Christy, no, you need to change your mindset. So everything changed. I had Jennifer Scout, John Regis, a part of the group, and I said, in my head, I said, I will never let them beat me again in the training. And so everything was about, I'm not allowing you to be emotional, or I'm going to get nearer to you, and then I'm going to beat you. But nobody else knew this. This was all up here. I kept my mouth closed. Yeah. I was diligent. I was professional. I was diligent, professional. I just did it. And that year, I broke through. I was number one in Great Britain.
That's invaluable advice there. That's an invaluable story, part of your story there, Christine. I just like to, revisit it there. You are 16, if I picked up your timeline there. You are at 16 and you have a vision to which you commit everything else coming upon that. So everything that's happening, training-wise, competition-wise, team selection-wise, has to fit in with this vision that you have set yourself. And this is the same vision that you have. In my mind, that's proactive assertiveness right there. So everything had to fit in with that. Where do you get such a mentality at 16?
Say that again, sorry. Where did I get?
How did you get that mindset at 16?
I think being brought up in a children's home, I think has given me, because people expected certain things from me. So people expected me to not get any qualifications, not to get pregnant and have children with different. This is what people said to me, and I made a decision when I went into care that I was going to change the rhetoric of people being brought up in care. That I was going to be something. So I also had my academics. So I wanted to be a teacher. So with being a teacher, you have to get a degree. None of my parents had a degree. So it was easy for me because I had two goals. The goal of running for Great Britain and the goal of becoming a teacher. So my focus was, I knew what I had to do. My PE teacher had been raised in a children's home, so she was a Jew, and she had come to England and she said to me, Christine, if you apply yourself, you're intelligent enough to achieve your goals, but you need to apply yourself. Do not waste your time messing around with people. Do not waste your time. It was hard because obviously being brought up in the children's home, being separated from your family was a very, very big thing. And I just set myself goals, and I always set myself goals. There is no way that Christine Beverly Bloomfield, which is my name at the time, will ever fail. And when people said that I could, it wasn't about proof. I never ever prove people wrong. I'm proving myself right. There's a difference.
Exactly.
Because when you're trying to prove something to somebody else, and you're trying to say, right, I can do that. That's a negative way. But when you say to yourself, I want to achieve this for myself, and I can. It may take me longer than other people, but I am going to do it, and I will do it. And even in my coaching, that's how I am. I'm never trying to prove anybody wrong. I know I'm good. If I know I'm good, and if I know that I can achieve it, I have to set the things in place in order to achieve those goals. So at 16, I did not want to be in a council house. I wanted my children to be raised in a two-parent family. I wanted to have a house that I owned. I wanted to be a successful teacher. I wanted to be a head teacher. That was my goal. I'll tell you about that later. I wanted to be a head teacher. I was very driven and very aspirational. I had although I talk about children, I was really focused on my career. I wasn't thinking about children. I wasn't really thinking about marriage. I wanted these two goals, and I was anything to get them. Whether people were put barriers in my way, which they did. And it wasn't easy. I'm not going to say easy. My life wasn't easy, but you know, if you apply yourself, and if you really believe, you have to believe in yourself. And obviously, I was more intelligent than I realized. So I applied myself. I then went to the university. I got my degree. So it's all about organisation and structure. And as a person, if you might say, "Oh, I'm disorganised," I'm the most scatty person. Stan, you've known me for a while. I can talk to Stan about one thing, and then I'll go off on a tangent and talk about something else, and then I'll come back to that. And Stan will be, hold on, Christy, you were talking about that. You were talking about speed velocity, and then you're going on to something else, and then you come back to speed. So my head is always going, and that's the way I am, because I think a lot, and what I will say to you is, if you do not know your worth, and you do not know how valuable you are as a person, and you do not believe in yourself, how are you expecting your coach to believe in yourself, your parents, or whatever? Yes, the parents are thinking, but it's about you deciding that you're going to do something. If you decide to do something, it's powerful. If somebody else decides that you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer, that's not powerful, because you're not buying into it. You have to buy into it. You have to own everything. I will say that all the time. You have to own who you are as a person and what you want to achieve. And once you do that, then you can move forward. It's not easy, but it's not easy.
Listen, Christine, I'm going to give you a water break, but when we come back, I'd like us to pick it up from the breakthrough moments into senior career. You know, the time when you say, listen here, guys, Regis and everybody else in that crew, coach, I'm going to beat these fellows without you saying them, but, you know, with your mouth zipped up. You determined and set your own targets. What was the role of setting targets for you as a senior athlete? When we come back. Welcome back, Chris. Yeah.
Hi.
Goal setting. You determined, you've got your vision. The vision has taken you into this fantastic group of elite athletes. And you're working with them and they are extending you in terms of self-application. That you have set, it's your own goals. Even in that environment, it's your own goals that keep pulling you and extending your envelope. Share with us what the power of your own goals. What did they achieve? How did they help you achieve that?
Okay, so in 1998, I set my winter up, and I was traveling probably an hour and a half to training. So I never ever did anything easy. Everything had to be complicated for me. I never just picked a track around the corner. And what I did is I set myself. I wanted to be number one in Great Britain. So the year before I was about 20 in the country. So I said to my coach, I'm going to be number one. And I am going to the world indoors. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because I'm going to prime myself, I'm going to train hard, I'm going to put my body, I'm going to be professional. Now, I did everything I could. So up until from October to December, I was like, everything was on point, everything was right, everything went well. And something happened to my back. And I saw the goals going away. I was like, I'm meant to be number one in Britain. So I ran my first race, number one in Britain, and it was a big time for me at that point. So I ran that time, and then I got injured. I don't know how. I just hurt my back. It wasn't to do with running. It wasn't to do training. I just hurt my back, and I couldn't move. This guy called Torben Hersberg, he had to treat me. So leading into the championship, I was number one. I kept on thinking, God, you promised me that he who has begun a good work in me will carry it on to his completion. That's what it says in the Bible. And I know that some of you might believe it, but this is what I had to hold on to. And God said, I will do it for you. I couldn't run 2 weeks before the championships. Couldn't even lift my foot off my ankle. So how I was going to run the period? No, I had the goal, and I had the desire, and I had the hunger. I saw Torben the day before the championships. I saw Torben 20 times.
Wow.
Before I ran in the morning, I saw him 7 times. I said to Torben, if I'm meant to run, you just have to get me to move. And I will do everything else that I need to do. And there were some really good girls, like Marcia Richardson, Stephanie Duffus. There were some really, really good girls at the time that I looked up to. And I said, I'm not caring who. I'm not caring who. I said to Torben, you get me on that track, and I will do what I need to do. So he got me into the stadium, and I did the heat, won my heat. Fine, no problem. Torben worked on me in the semi-finals, won the semi-finals, and I said, I'm going to the World Championships. And I said, I said it to God way back when, and I said, I will honour you. Because I started running on Sunday. Basically, I didn't run on Sundays. I started running on Sundays, not only for major competitions. I said, God, I will honour you if you allow me to run for Great Britain. Now, it doesn't always happen. I said, I will honour you. And so anyway, long story short, got to the final, and I said, I had visualised years before, champion, going like this. Yeah, like, I had no idea that all that visualization that I had done prior. Remember, I said to you, I did little things on my own. All that visualization of me winning, being a champion, being British champion, I had done it. I'd done the work. So I knew how I was going to feel. I got in my blocks. I stood on the mat set, going and bang, bang, bang. I didn't even pick. I won the race. I didn't even pick them. I won the race clearly. And that was my journey into elite and international. Now, I haven't had the glowing career like winning gold medals and whatever. I've won medals in the British Championships and everything, and I've done really well. But I don't think I'm a failure because people didn't expect me to make it to Great Britain. As I said to you, when people write their own story for you, write your own story. When somebody says that you can't, right? Yes, they might be experienced. I never say can't. I say I will try. And if you will try, the words I will try. If you try and you succeed, that's fantastic. If you don't try because somebody said to you, "Oh, you can't do it," no, I don't think you could. People were telling me I haven't got the right body, I'm much better people than me. But you know what? Remember, I had a goal and I had a plan. My plan was to make it to Great Britain. Whether you believed in me or not, I actually didn't need anybody. I needed to believe in myself. And I need to believe that I could do what I said I was going to do. I told you I was going to make it. And I did. And it wasn't being, and I've never been arrogant. The one thing about me is I'm never arrogant because I feel blessed. Every 5 years that I was an international, I was blessed because so many people have a dream and don't get to fulfill that dream. I was able to fulfill my dream. But you know what? I had fun. I went to Japan for the first time. Can you imagine? I was excited. I was elated. I went to Japan. And I was like, people were bowing to me. They were talking to me. And I said, I have to come back to this country. It's an amazing place. Absolutely phenomenal. I would never have experienced that had I not been on the Great Britain. I would have never experienced culture. I'd never experienced being on a team. And the team was right. So the people that were my team were John Nugent, Colin Jackson. Those are two of the main people that were on our team. So can you imagine how I felt? And I became captain. My first GB international, I became team captain. Above those elite people that won gold medals, international Europeans, whatever. And little old Christine here was chosen as captain. And do you know what Colin Jackson said to me? I will never forget. Don't trip. So they saw my potential when I first came on the GB team. So I know that I have something to offer. I know. And you know what? It's been the most incredible experience, like international experience. I thank God. I also thank incredible coaches. And I'll be honest, I am very fortunate that all the people that surrounded me were quite intelligent, very articulate people, with a very good understanding of track and field, an understanding of biomechanics, the technical aspects, the scientific. I'm not really scientific, not as much as some of the people that I've met. I love talking to them and enhancing my knowledge. So some of the things I gained through being an international athlete was more than what most people would, because some people just do it. I wanted to know why I was doing it. I wanted to know why we did that and how we did that and how I could be better and what I could do. Not because I wanted to be a coach, but just because I wanted to know. Then I wanted to know. If you're going to tell me to do something, you have to explain why you want to tell me to do it. Otherwise, don't give it to me. I was that kind of an probably wasn't very nice to clients. But I was just inquisitive. I just needed to know. I needed to know because I needed to understand. And I needed to understand. In order to do that, you need to be informed. Someone said to you, you have a goal. So if you're not informed, how can you achieve your goal? If you don't understand what you're going into, how can you be better? So you need to be informed. So I would advise people, read books, talk to experienced people, talk to people that, I had all men in my armory that I used to go and talk to. Stan shared a huge amount of his knowledge, and I came away from there thinking, oh, gosh, I'm rubbish, I can't do this, I can't do this. But do you know what? It empowered me. And what you did for that, you don't realise this, but you made me better. You challenged me, and you made me, even though it wasn't when I was running, and it was when I was running, you challenged me to be better. You challenged me not to settle and be mediocre. And that's why my athletics career I was successful, because I never accepted mediocrity. I never accepted the vision that people had for me. I always had a vision for myself. And that's why I think in my international career, I did everything. I exceeded more than anybody could ever imagine. And that's because I surrounded myself with good people.
Very generous words there, Christine. But in my mind, excuse me, here was a coach that was passionate about what they want to do. Here was a coach that they had a sense of direction. Mm-hmm. And you can't replace that. You cannot. No one can replace that. No one can give that to you. No one can give that to you. So the interaction that we get from other coaches and our contribution, as you generously say, I contributed, it's because of what you yourself exhibited in your pursuit to help your athletes and the athletes that you're working with, for a start, but also you as a coach, just to continue to extend that horizon. Anybody meeting such a coach or such an athlete, they only inspire you to give more, to learn more and find out more, to give them more and help them more, because their behavior and their demeanor and attitude is such that, what you give them feels invaluable for them. Yeah. And it's going to help a lot of many other people, many other athletes and many other coaches. Yeah. So in my book, that's just like passing the baton.
Yeah.
In an area or in a thing where an athlete or wants, a fellow coach wants to be, wants to extend the way they are operating the thing. When we come back, I'm going now to I'd like us to look at how you transition. When did it start? Yeah. Where did the vision start to transition from an international athlete, Great Britain captain, say, now I'm going to pack this all up and start this journey, change it and become a coach. Shall we do that?
Okay, definitely.
Christine, the coach, welcome back. Tell me, at some point earlier on, you did mention that I wanted to learn, not because I wanted to become a coach, but because I wanted to understand why I was doing certain things as an athlete. At what point, if there's such a point that you can relate to, when did you decide, wow, I think coaching is for me and I'm going to start preparing to go to that route? What happened? Was this another vision? Was this just incidental? What happened? How did it come about?
It was right. When I was 16, I used to coach for South of England. So I did about a 5-year stint of helping coaches to teach them drills and skills, because I was at university. So I kind of like go school and transition to university. I just enjoyed it then, and it was just something to do, you know, and enhance my knowledge and understanding of the field. I had no intention of becoming a coach, to be honest. Like, none at all. I got married in 2004, and that was it. I thought, you know, I want to have children, so I have to be quick because I was 35, I got married. And I had no intention of being a coach. When Lloyd Cowens came to me and asked me, would I be a group of coaching and be the sprint lead in that group of coaches? I was 3 to 4 months pregnant. 3 to 4 months pregnant. I thought, okay, yeah, I'll do it. Would you work with me with Chrissy O? So I said, yeah, okay, I'll work with Chrissy O. I knew I was going to have the baby in August, and that was going to be the end of it. But remember, I said to you at the beginning, to my family. So just remember that, because that's a key point as to why I came back to the shop. So anyway, going forward, I had my daughter, and my sister was ill, and then my sister died in the October. So I had my daughter in the 23rd, died October 29th, on her birthday. And I just said, you know what, what's the point? What is athletics all about? Who wants to do it? It's irrelevant, not important. And then Lloyd phoned me every day for a month and said, you need to come back. Just come back one day. You don't have to do much, just come back one day. And then he goes, oh, you can help Chrissy O. So I said, okay, I'll help Chrissy O. Then Chrissy O had a double Achilles operation. So I said, okay, I'll help me rehab one day a week. Honestly, Stan, within a week, I went from one day to 5 days. I said, Lloyd, I don't want to coach. It's just I don't want to move. And he said, no, you need to share your talent. You've got a lot of knowledge and you're quite talented. And I was like, no.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, baby. So let me show you a picture. Just envision. Just had my daughter.
Yeah.
She's 3 months, and I'm at the side of a pool, shouting at Chrissy O, doing a rehab in the pool. Now, baby on the side on her playing mat, trying to say to her, darling, India, you need to stay on the mat, still coaching the elite runner, and thinking, what am I doing? This is crazy. What kind of parent? And then I'd get people saying, what kind of mother would get their kids to track? It's disgraceful, you're not raising them properly, and all this kind of stuff. Yes, then I got it all. And then I just decided that I wanted to do coaching. Like that, it was at that point I just said, you know what, I want to do this, and I want to do this well. So I stayed with Lloyd for five years. You know? And I was I'm going to tell people, I was very fortunate, because in the first year, so Chrissy O won games. In the first year, after rehabbing her, she started running in February. She had world championships in August. She won the world championships, got a gold medal. Okay, fine. Everybody said that's fine. You and Lloyd don't know what they're doing. I'm going to be honest. For me personally, what I was teaching, I was reading. I was like a sponge. Reading about 400. What you need to do, how you need to do it. Looking at technical videos. You see I've got a bookcase of technical books, biometrics, everything. You name it, I've got it. You know? And so I just read. And I think because I'm very inquisitive, I just wanted to learn as much as I could. And then the following year, she won Olympic medal. So really, I could hang out on spikes now, because I was co-coach of Lloyd. And I thought, I've done it. I've done everything I want to do. But it wasn't enough. And I decided to go on my own. After 5 years of being with Lloyd, I just said, let's try this on your own, Chris. I'll be honest with you, I knew I could do it. I'm not going to lie. I just want to see if I can do it. See if I understand about programs, periodization, I just thought all these kind of things that you need to know. I just thought, let me just do it. I was doing it before, but I wanted to do it on my own. So if I did it on my own and I failed, I would know that I needed to get more knowledge. And it's the same. So I set myself a goal, and I said, every athlete that comes into my path, I'm going to add value to their life. Yeah, but I'm the kind of coach that says, when you take an athlete, it's their career. You're taking somebody's child, and you've got a responsibility as a coach to do your homework. You have a responsibility to be professional. You have a responsibility as being a mother. I think because I'm a mother now, I looked at, if this was my child, how would I want people to treat my child? So therefore, I would do the same for these children. And they did become sometimes a bit too close. When I had Asha and I had Jodie, it was sometimes I got a bit too close. Maybe a bit too. Maybe people say too close. And you told me a number of occasions, Christine, you know what? You're just a vehicle for them to move forward. And if you've been a little part in the course of making that athlete progress, clap yourself and applaud yourself, because you don't have to have them all the time. You don't own them. They are people who are going to come into your life and move out of your life. And I took that on more so when I had Asha and Jodie, and more so with Jodie, because I just said to myself, you know what? You're here with me for a period of time. I don't know how long I've got you, but I'm telling you now, just like I was with my athletics, I am going to be the best coach I can be. And I am going to make sure that you run to your potential. Now, I have athletes of all abilities. And it's only recently that I decided to coach younger kids. Not recently, but in the last 7-8 years. But I believe that as a coach, as going in, I didn't think I was going to. I don't think everybody that is an athlete makes a good coach. I'm going to tell you that now. They don't. Whether they win Olympic medals, they can win 10 Olympic medals, does not make them a good coach. Yes, they have an understanding of what it takes. Yes, they have an understanding of high performance. Does not make them a good coach. You have to have an eye, a passion, and understanding for the event that you are going to take forward. If you do not have those qualities, then you're not going to be a coach. And people say to me, "Oh, but that person, who cares?" I've seen elite athletes who I used to watch on television try to coach and fail. Why? Because it's not easy. It's time consuming. You're a parent. You're a teacher. You're a psychologist. You're an encourager. You're a motivator. Coaching isn't. It's not one time. If you think coaching is about coming in there and giving a plan, you know what? Anybody can stand on the track and give a plan out. Oh, run 10 200s. Oh, run 560. Anybody can do that. But what it takes to be a coach. Listen, my whole life has been about coaching. My kids live at the track. Everybody knows my children. They call them uncle and auntie this and auntie. You have to understand, coaching is multifaceted. And the coach that says it is just about running the numbers and listen, I've met really, really talented coaches. I've met people that have much more knowledge than me, much more understanding. Could wrap rings around me with science. But you know what? I know how to coach. And I understand how to coach. And I've surrounded myself with intellectual, thought-provoking people. Because when somebody says to me, Christine, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? What is that for? What? Because you saw it on the YouTube, you're going to put it into your program. You have no understanding of why you put it in your program, but you're going to put it in your program because Asafa Powell drags his toe on the ground. Have you understood Newton's law of motion? Right. Have you understood about friction and what friction causes? No, you obviously haven't. So therefore, you've gone on the YouTube, watch Asafa Powell drag his toe, and you're going to drag your toes as well. But before Asafa Powell ran, did people drag their toes? No. Did Carl Lewis drag his toe? No. So why are you doing that? Why? Because Asafa Powell did it. Maurice Green rode for 50 meters. Because Maurice Green was stronger, more agile, probably more mobile than a lot of people. He could hold his position for that length of time. He did it. Coach did it because he wasn't disciplined. That's why Coach did it for Maurice. Then everybody else started driving for 50 meters. Running behind, getting hamstring injuries, quad injuries, ankle, because they didn't understand the basic principles of running. So when you do that, and when people say to me, "Oh, I could be a coach," because no, don't be fooled. Yeah, this is Auntie Christine talking to you now. I'm going to talk as an auntie because I'm 52. Most of you are younger than me, probably. No. A good elite runner does not make a good coach. You might be a good mentor, but it doesn't mean it's going to be a good coach. I'm not saying that's right for everybody, but I have watched, I've seen people destroy athletes, and out of pride, not let an athlete move on because they're, I'm the best coach. No. You are the best coach for them at that moment in time, but now they need to move on and see something different. You can stay with a coach for the whole of your career. That's fine. I'm not saying that you don't do that. But some people need to move on because you are not capable of taking that person to the next level. And if you're not, it's not because you're a bad coach. I was talking to an athlete and I was saying, you know what? Coaches aren't bad. They're just they're for a period of time or a level. Some coaches are just good grassroots coaches. Some coaches are good middle of the road coaches. Some coaches are good elite coaches. Some coaches that are elite coaches aren't good elite coaches, but they think they're good elite coaches because they just want to be in the limelight. This is one thing I tell you. It is not about you. It is not about you. But when people come to me and they say, oh, how are you feeling? I'm not running. I say to people, I'm not running. I've done my job on the track. I've warmed her up or him up. When they step on that track, it's down to them. It's not my desire. I've done what I want to do. I'm quite happy with what I've achieved. But they have to own it. You can't own it for them. And the moment you say that they're your possessions and you own them, this is one thing you don't understand. You don't own an athlete. You don't own them. They're there for a moment in time. If they stay with you for the whole of their career, fantastic. Well done. Great job. John Blackley, well done. Great job. But it doesn't always happen like that. And it's not always right for an athlete to stay with a coach just because you've been with them at the beginning of their career. However, it depends on the person. It depends on the coach. And it depends if the coach is willing to learn and to grow with the athlete. If you don't grow with the athlete, then you need to let them go. If you're prepared to grow with the athlete and get supported by other coaches who have been there, stand there, have done it, fine. But you're going to be, some coaches are very arrogant. Oh, I can do this. I know what I'm doing. No, you don't. No, you do not. Because the reason why I'm where I am now is because I talk to other people who are wiser and more experienced than me. Yeah? And that's why I'm where I am now. And that's why, you know what, I'm here, I'm a coach now. I'm quite passionate about it. And I want to be the best I can be. I told my coach, I have a vision board. I'm going to put a vision board up. I want to have athletes go into the Olympic Games. I have had it, but I want it continuously. I don't want it like one hit, one person. I want groups of people to get to gold, to get to gold, Europeans. And that is my next goal, to have multiple goals. I have had one before, but I want more. Because I'm quite greedy. Quite greedy. I'm quite greedy. Olympic.
Yeah.
I don't want to just get there. Perform when you get there.
Perform when you get there. Splendid thoughts there, and coaching philosophy there, Christine. Absolutely amazing insights and wise words there coming from an experienced coach. What I resonates with me there is, I think sometimes the problem with coaching, two issues. The problem with coaches, it's when coaches define athletes as theirs. That's where the problem starts. My athlete. No. It's the athlete I work with. If we start looking at athletes from that descriptor, then we will understand what our role is and what their role is. We start differentiating who they are. But if we say my athlete, we really are putting ourselves at a pedestal regarding their whole entire athletic experience, which is not true. It is a false position to put yourself in. I have athletes that I work with because there's a certain contribution that I bring to their development. And there's other development that is done and should be done by other different practitioners to bring about a holistic development. But if I say they are my athlete, I've taken over, I have nullified the contribution of everyone else. I've made myself the pedestal for their development, which is a lie, an absolute lie. So well done for those words, the wise words there, Chris. Absolutely, absolutely love that. Listen, we have just a few minutes before we go away. I'd like you to think about you. You really have shared a whole lot there. You know, people that have followed us would have said that. But I want you talking to aspiring coaches. They could be developing coaches. They could be performance coaches. Just the three tips that you would share from your journey. You know, as Christine. You know, not as this is what the professors say, this is what the scientists say, but this is what I can verify and validate from my experience as a coach. And these are the three things that I like to share with you. What would those three tips be, Christine?
One, be confident in who you are as a coach and understand. I didn't have a philosophy when I started. I had a philosophy, but I didn't know what my philosophy was. And people kept saying, "What is your philosophy?" So understand who you are as a coach and where you fit as a coach. Be confident about where you fit. So when you walk on the track, own your space, own where you're training. Because one of the things that I found very difficult, you're not intimidating, but some of the male coaches, I'm going to be honest, were very intimidating when I first came. I'm quite a strong person, but even me, I was like, I don't want to upset that person. I don't. No, you've got to own the space that you're working in. You also have to have a good knowledge and understanding of your athletes, where they're coming from, what they're bringing. Because you know what? We're just seeing them at the track maybe 5 times a week, maybe three to 5 times a week, maybe even 2. You have to understand how that person works, how they understand you as a person. Now, I'm not saying I get really close to my athletes because I have to understand how they tick, what makes them happy, what makes them sad, what they're doing, what they're doing, and it's very important for me. Athletics is has a short window of opportunity. This is what coaches say. So, if it has a short window of opportunity, surely we as coaches have to empower our athletes to be academic. Now, we're not all going to go to university. You can do apprenticeships, you can do college courses, you can go to work and do courses and progress that way. So as a coach, you have to make sure that they're balanced athletes, that they're not one-dimensional athletes, because they are multifaceted. Their sister, they might, or brother, or an auntie, or an uncle, or a daughter, or a son. They're multifaceted. So as they come to you as these complex beings. And if you don't get to understand them quickly, then you will never. For me personally, I will never achieve with them because I don't understand what their psychological makeup is. And because you have to get into their psyche when they're standing on the line and you're saying it's the full threat of maybe 4 120s. I did it today. I said to the girl, "You're doing 4 runs." She did the full 4 runs. I said, "Okay, take 15 minutes. We're gonna do another one." She looked at me as if to say, "Are you crazy, coach? Have you not felt the heat?" And she said, "This is what she said to me afterwards." So I said, "No, do it, and then we'll see how you do." She ran really good. She ran better than she thought she would. And you know why? Because I knew she could do it. So now, next time I say to her, "Do a run," she will trust me because I knew that she could do it. But if you don't understand that, and if you don't understand that person, how can you make those judgments? How can you make informed decisions in your coaching if you don't understand them? You know, so I've got loads more, but those are the things that I would really. And education, I think, is very, very important. I think it's critical, and it's critical one for the discipline as well. Because if you have a disciplined, self-organized person, you have an organized athlete. If you have a disorganized athlete, an academic person, you have a disorganized athlete. You've got to instill structure in their lives. They don't have structure. It's your job. Yeah? It's your job to discipline. If I say 10 o'clock, I'm in 10 o'clock. I don't mean 10 past 10. I used to have a kitty that collects money when they make my I don't like. That's not really me. That's not really how I work. And so I did it because the coach told me to do it. I did it for about a month and I stopped it. It doesn't work for me. So you have to do what works for you. Don't ever try and be somebody else. My name is Christine Harrison. I am going to be Christine Harrison. I'm not going to be Stan. I'm not. I'm not Stan. I'm Christine. And that's what you have to understand. You have to be who you want to be, not who others want you to be. Because if you're not true to yourself, you'll never be successful as a coach. Sorry, Stan. That's a bit on Stan.
On that note, Christine, you have been super duper. Tell you what, Christine, I know you are running a fantastic project program club, CC Sprints. And I think there's huge information and inspiration from what you are doing.
Oh,
I'd like to invite you at some point in the near future so you can share with us what CC Sprints is all about, how you're going about. I know you've just mentioned it to us there. You like to create a conveyor belt of Olympians, and it is starting with CC Sprints. So watch this space. If you're out there, we will get Christine back in not so too far, a distant future. We will get her back. So, but for now, from Christine and from me, it is good night.